Never, ever give up. Just keep going forward. Never stop. It may seem like you have no chance. It may seem like it's over. Never, ever quit. If you're a quitter, I hope you quit right now and stop watching immediately, because you'll never make it.
What would be one word of advice you would have for an upcoming businessman, for a future businessman?
Knowledge. But if it's one word's very hard for that, but the word is knowledge. But you get knowledge through experience. One of the things people talk about is luck. And I do believe that people are lucky, and some people are luckier than others. I do believe that. But there's also an expression, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I can tell you 10 instances where I didn't quit. One, it was 1990, the world was coming down, the debt markets were everybody, all of my friends and enemies were going bankrupt. I never did. And the times were actually just terrible. And even today, you look at times and you see what happens, and you have to learn. But the word luck is very interesting. But if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like. So you have to work hard, because it is true, you can develop luck through hard work.
I have a friend who was not successful at all, but was really up and coming. And he had a thing. He would only fly first class. I'm not saying do this, because for somebody it won't work, but he needed that mentally.
Right.
He wanted to fly first class because mentally he wanted to think he was the best, and that's it. And even though he didn't have much money at the time, this is years ago, he would always fly. I used to criticize him, but it put him in a good state of mind, and he became a very, very successful guy.
Yes.
Very, very successful. Yes. And I've always remembered that. He would never fly coach. He would always fly first class, even though he didn't have the means to fly. So, look, it's complicated, but whatever it takes to train that.
Now, you own these incredible casinos and hotels, and the towers in New York City. You're going to build this world's tallest building now in Television City. When is enough, or will Donald Trump never be satisfied with the deal making and the acquisitions?
Well, I'm like a lot of my friends from Houston. I just keep chugging. I mean, all you can do is just keep going. Life is sort of a pretty short experience, and you have to maintain some kind of an equilibrium, and the way I maintain that is to work. And I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and I hope I do it well. And so I just keep going forward, Dan, and it's so far it's paid off.
Never, ever give up. You can change and you can move around, but never, ever give up. I know people that are very smart. They went to the Wharton School of Finance with me. I know other people that aren't as smart, and those people are the top people in industry today, and they just were tougher. They didn't give up. And the smart ones had everything on their plate. They'd always come in with the A+ on the tests and the good boards and everything else. But when they ran into problems, they didn't know how to solve the problems like the guys that weren't as good. And it's very seldom that you see something other than this happen. So never, ever give up.
Let's suppose that I have a job, but I have the feeling that I want to start my own business. How would I know that I'm the right kind of person for the entrepreneurial life?
To me, that's the best question you've asked, and it's also the toughest. Somebody has a family, has a job, they have a nice job, they get X dollars a week, they don't have to worry about very much, it's not going to be great, they're not going to live in Palm Beach, but you know what? They have a job, and it's income coming in. The hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in business, is to leave that job and become an entrepreneur, because you're risking your wealth, you're risking your family, your health, your family's health. You're really risking a lot. You have to know in your gut whether or not you have it to be an entrepreneur. Can you handle pressure? Can you handle all of the problems that you're going to be confronted with? And there'll be many, many problems. But the toughest job that somebody has, in my opinion, in business, is to know when to get out of something and when to go in something, because that's a very, very risky proposition. A lot of that is all in the details. You've got to be into the details, because if you're not, they'll come back to haunt you. So
oftentimes, life is in the details. Well, business also is in the details. You have to be very careful. You have to watch the dotted I's, because you can really lose tremendously if you don't watch those details. So we discussed that, and as Robert likes to say, probably more than I do, that's the little finger, but it's all about the details. It's very important. The worst employee is a good employee. A bad employee is fine because you fire that person right away. A great employee is phenomenal. You want to keep them and cherish them. They're fantastic. But a good employee, you never sort of fire them, but they never lead you to the next level. They just keep their job. They're sort of too good to be fired, but they're not good enough. You're never going to do great. So I always say the worst employee isn't a bad employee. It's just a good or average employee. Sometimes in life, to be successful, oftentimes, most of the time, you have to follow your instincts. You have to follow your gut. You have to. Your parents may say wrong, your whoever may say wrong, but you have to do it. So much of success is seeing yourself as victorious. You have to see yourself. You have to really believe in yourself. And sometimes it's hard. You've had failures, you've had weaknesses, you've had other things. You have to see yourself as a one-man band. Don't rely too much on other people because they'll let you down. You have to see yourself as victorious. And to be a winner, you have to think like a winner. If you don't think like a winner, it's just never going to happen. Many people have been asking about my desk and the fact that I have so many papers on my desk. It's actually very neat. I know where everything is, but if you look around, there's a lot of stuff. The fact is, I'm busy. I always notice that busy people that are very successful in many cases, have a lot going on their desk. I have papers from deals, I have papers from just about everything. I like to read up on things, I like to study what I'm doing. So therefore, you have a lot of action going on in your office. Now, some of the writers, some of the ones that aren't so smart, they talk about the desk negatively. They say, oh, isn't it terrible? Trump has so many papers on his desk. Let's analyze everything on the desk, and they do the best and they fail. But the fact is, I've noticed over the years, successful people have a lot going on their desk. My desk is in my office. My desk is a very important part of me. And frankly, it's a very important part of my success. Everything I do comes right through this desk. So, if it's not perfectly neat, if there's a lot of action, I think that's okay. I actually think that's a good thing. You want to be totally focused. You can't take your eye off the ball. When I had troubles in the early 90s, a major article came out and it said very strongly, everything he touches turns to gold. And I believed it. So I'd go out with models at night instead of working. But that wasn't good. And I remember I had a big lease coming up, and there was a big show, and I went to the show. I said, don't worry, fellas, you can handle the lease. You'll get it done. Well, I came back, they didn't get it done, and I would have had it done 100%. And then the market crashed in the 90s. So I had trouble, but it was sort of an amazing, I wouldn't want to do it again. It was an amazing test of yourself. Can you handle pressure? How are you under pressure? Are you smart? Now I want to take this opportunity to give you some advice. Together, we have the same mission, and your devotion and dedication makes me truly proud. Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve and that are not always warranted. But you have to put your head down and fight, fight, fight. Never, ever, ever give up. Things will work out just fine. Look at the way I've been treated lately, especially by the media. No politician in history, and I say this with great surety, has been treated worse or more unfairly. You can't let them get you down.
You can't let the critics and the naysayers get in the way of your dreams. Adversity makes you stronger. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. Nothing worth doing ever came easy. And the more righteous your fight, the more opposition that you will face.